Hello friends, today we are going to discuss the most important topic of the accounting is capital and revenue expenditure, right? So here, prior to discussion of this capital and revenue expenditure, we must understand that the what do you mean by expenditure or expense? Here, expenditure or expenses refers to amount applied to derive the benefit. Amount applied to derive the benefit. In the sense what? Suppose if I pay an amount of 50 rupees and purchase a pen, then question arises how long I can derive the benefit out of this expenditure. Suppose if I purchase a pen, I can derive a benefit in the sense I can utilize it for writing for a period of, let's say, 15 days. If I purchase a chocolate, a candy, by applying 1 rupee, and the question arises how long I can derive the benefit out of it. As long as I can retain in my mouth, in the sense it will be, let's say, 1 or 2 minutes. Suppose if I purchase a machinery for production of goods and services, then the question arises how long I can derive the benefit. Of course, when we purchase a machinery, we can utilize it for at least for a period of 2 to 3 years, in the sense more than 1 year. So we can derive the benefit of that machinery for more than 1 year, 2 to 3 years. So like that, every expenditure will have a life of how long we can utilize, how long we can derive the benefit out of that expenditure. And this plays a very important role, that the duration of deriving the expenditure. So that creates here the difference between capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. So according to the accounting period concept, it says that the accounting should be divided into certain periods to evaluate the performance of the business. So here, generally, the accounting will be bifurcated into years. Like annually, we prepare our financial data and financial statements and revenue statements, that is profit and loss account. So 1 year plays an important role here. So here the capital expenditure is revenue expenditure is based on is the benefit that we can derive from the expenditure. So any expenditure gives us a benefit of more than 1 year is called as capital expenditure. Any expenditure gives us benefit less than 1 year is called as revenue expenditure. In the sense what? We are deriving the benefit of the expenditure for more than 1 year is treated as capital expenditure in the accounting terminology. Any expenditure gives us a benefit for less than 1 year is treated as a revenue expenditure in terms of accounting terminology. Suppose we purchase a machinery, we are getting benefit for more than 1 year is a revenue expenditure. Salaries payment, rent payment is a revenue expenditure. Once you pay a salary for a particular employee for a particular month, he will work for that particular month itself. He cannot work more than that month unless we pay the salary. So we have to pay salary, and salaries is called as revenue expenditure. And next is expenditure incurred on purchase of fixed asset. Fixed asset, in the sense what, whenever we purchase any asset, that expenditure is treated as a capital expenditure. And expenditure incurred on maintaining or running the fixed asset. In the sense what, when we purchase a machinery, it is a capital expenditure, but unless we utilize the what we call electricity or petrol or diesel, with the help of which we can run the machinery, we cannot derive the benefit. In the sense what, to run the machinery we incur certain expenditure. So running the machinery, in the sense expenditure incurred on running such machinery, is called as revenue expenditure, in terms of what, electricity charges, in terms of petrochemical charges, in terms of what we call supervisor income, in terms of helper of the machinery, in terms of lubricants, grease, oils, whatever we use, oiling and servicing of the machinery, all this comes under the category of revenue expenditure. In the sense what, to maintain the machinery, to keep the machinery in a running condition, such expenditure called as revenue expenditure. And by nature, the capital expenditure is non-recurring expenditure. Non-recurring by nature. In the sense what, capital expenditure is non-recurring, in the sense once we incur the expenditure, that expenditure gives us benefit for more than 1 year. Again and again we need not to incur such expenditure. That is called as non-recurring by nature. Whereas the revenue expenditure is concerned, it is a recurring expenditure. In the sense what, we incur this expenditure repeatedly again and again, like such as if you take maintenance cost of the machinery, it will be a revenue expenditure, as we incur repeatedly, as long as we use the machine, we need to incur this expenditure. Whereas in case of salaries is concerned, it is a recurring in the nature, again and again we incur that expenditure. So here I hope I made you understand this concept of capital expenditure. Expenditure is nothing but the amount applied to derive the benefit. Then the question arises, how long we derive the benefit. So based on that, the capital expenditure and revenue expenditure is bifurcated, right? And the understanding of capital expenditure and revenue expenditure is very essential for an accounting student, as it plays an important role. If there is no what we call understanding of capital expenditure and revenue expenditure, in the sense bifurcation of capital and revenue, then anyone can be an accountant. What is accounting? Then recording of incomes and recording of expenditure. Here the specialization of accounting student lies in what? They will classify the expenditure, in the sense bifurcate and divide the expenditure by observing the nature as a capital expenditure and a revenue expenditure. Here the importance of the accounting student lies. So all capital expenditures will be recorded as assets in the balance sheet asset side, whereas revenue expenditures will be recorded on the profit and loss account debit side. This is the most important bifurcations of capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. I hope I made you understand the basic concept of this capital expenditure and revenue expenditure. Please do subscribe my channel to provide some more educational and informative videos and learning the accounting with a different perspective. Thank you very much.